This next one is interesting because we spend a lot of time debating what's right and what's wrong, but process is important. How do referees and VAR officials arrive at these decisions? And this is a really important example of that. So let's take a look at this one.
APP, potential offside, header, and reset. VPP. Okay. Let me just check that through.
On field.
On field, right, just tell them we're checking it.
I have to delay. Matthew, just delay. We're going to check that.
Because it's VAR, because if I'm wrong here, I've got the screen. I have to delay.
Okay.
Point contact.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Lads, go on in. Cyril. Thank you. I'll give the shot away. Go away. Rabbi, go away. Rabbi, Cyril.
So this is Johnson player stands in him.
Thank you. Go away.
Nina, Dessers doesn't do anything wrong for me.
Rabbi.
Matthew, just confirm what you've seen there, please.
I need to talk now. Be quiet. For me, it goes through and he catches the defender as the defender kind of turns.
Okay, so I can show him evidence that doesn't suggest that. Matthew, it's Greg.
Yeah.
I'm going to recommend an on-field review for awarding the goal.
Okay.
If you make your way to the signal, make your way to the screen.
Well, an interesting one, because a bit less about is that the right or wrong decision, and a bit more about how was that arrived at. We talk process, body language, use of whistle. Talk us through that one from your perspective.
So the starting point for us is we coach the referee here and the referees generally about good body language. And here the referee probably doesn't display good body language because his body language, when the challenge is made in the edge of the penalty area, is everything is edging towards a free kick, body language-wise. However, even though his body language is showing that, he correctly delays a whistle. He correctly communicates so that the VAR is aware of what he intends doing if a goal is scored. And when the ball hits the net, he then blows the whistle for what he deems to be a defensive free kick, punishing the Rangers player for a challenge. The VAR then go into a check, of course, and they quickly come to a conclusion after accessing the correct angles that, in fact, there is no infringement. I would also say this is a normal footballing contact. Some people have said to me, well, would it have been a penalty if the attacker had gone down?
Yeah.
For me, this is normal footballing contact. It would have been play on. Nobody does anything wrong, even though there's contact. But the VAR checks and they realise that the Rangers player has not committed a foul, and therefore they recommend an on-field review for the referee to assess that, to come to the screen and have another look. The check takes quite long because there's also a tight offside in the build-up, and the VAR needs to make sure they get that right. We would like that check, though, to be quicker. We would like the check of the attacking phase of play, the potential offside, as the referee comes to the monitor to speed things up. We know it can seem very slow, so we're looking at ways that we can speed that up. But ultimately for us, apart from the body language, in terms of the whistle, in terms of the delay, in terms of the communication with the VAR, the correct process was followed, and ultimately for us, the correct decision was reached in the end. This was obviously a big talking point because St Johnstone players said they heard the whistle or thought they heard the whistle. I take it you're completely satisfied. What is that, by listening to the audio? How does that work? You're satisfied ultimately that there was no whistle there and that was the correct outcome? The reason I'm more than satisfied, Gordon, is there's two aspects to this. Firstly, we can hear the audio and we hear when the whistle goes. And if the whistle had gone prior to the ball going into the net, it would have been impossible for the referee to speak at that time because he'd be blowing the whistle. But you clearly hear the match referee indicating by voice what he's going to do. So for us, it's absolutely clear the whistle was blown after the goal was scored. Very importantly for this as well, some people said if the referee thinks it's a foul, he should blow immediately there. That is absolutely against the protocol. And for us, if the referee blows his whistle at the point where he thinks a foul happens, and then immediately the shot is struck and goes into goal, it's a disaster for us because it goes against protocol. Just on the whole body language thing, that reminds you of that phrase that you heard, always play to the whistle sort of thing. Just for the avoidance of doubt, is that the definitive
signal that something's happened, people may be saying, well, yeah, but the referee's body language or gesturing, it might cause a St Johnstone defender to stop. Does that come into account?
I understand that, but I also would compare it to occasionally an assistant referee will give an incorrect flag.
But you have to ignore
and just
it.
Because people may stop, it's impossible for the referee to accept an incorrect flag.
Yep.
So that would be another scenario where we would tell people it's best to play to the whistle rather than play to a signal.
Again, then, from a sort of coaching perspective, how do you go about trying to ensure that the wrong hand signal isn't made or body language? That seems like quite a difficult one to iron out.
We spoke to the referee at great length. We've spoken to the other referees at great length about this clip as well, and how that it's important to control your body language. But I think what's happened here for the referee, he's already has in his mind, he's correctly delaying the whistle, but he's already made his mind up he's going to give a free kick. So as soon as the ball hits the net, he's given the foul. But I think his body language has almost preempted that, and maybe even subconsciously. But what I would like to make sure I get my point across, we've coached the referee, this is what we don't want, and it'd be better for us if he makes no signal at all and waits to make that signal after he's blown the whistle.
Yeah, I think an important point, though, as you say, about delaying the whistle is the right thing to do ultimately.
Absolutely.
So you're a quirk of body language away from that actually being a fairly perfect use of VAR. Is that fair?
I think that's very fair. We would definitely be critical of the referee in terms of body language, but everything else in the process, including the outcome and the final decision, we're really pleased with.